So I know that distance learning is a sorry excuse for classroom learning. Most of the complaints from the Mineola district faculty also mirror my own. The students have lost the collaborative, interactive aspect with each other. While we may never be able to replicate the classroom experience outside of it, if we do have to resort to distance learning again, we've figured out a couple ways to get us at least closer to the classroom experience. The two ways we've discovered we can inch closer to the interactive, collaborative, student-to-student classroom experience is actually through the WebEx platform, which I know we've already been using during distance learning and are somewhat familiar with already. The two features we can utilize on WebEx to provide students with a more collaborative, interactive experience during distance learning are student-led WebEx meetings and WebEx training. Let's look at students-led WebEx meetings first. Thanks to Steve Benner, Lee Shaw, and the Mineola Middle School Social Studies PLC, we discovered a way for students to initiate their own meetings without the intervention or presence of a teacher. Students can then record their meetings and share the recordings with you. We utilize this feature as a collaborative alternative assessment, but you may conjure other uses for it. You might say, well, why can't we just use Flipgrid? And Flipgrid is a very versatile tool for the students to be able to video record themselves. But Flipgrid does not allow the students to be interactive during the shooting of the video. Now we'll introduce the steps for students to initiate their own meetings. Just would like to reiterate that these steps are all from the student's perspective, as a teacher is unnecessary here. I will also provide the disclaimer that there may be a way around anything I say. We have only scratched the surface of WebEx potential, as you may discover more features. Step 1. One student must initiate the meeting and act as the host by clicking on Start Meeting. Step 2. Click the black button with the 3 horizontal white dots in the center, second from the right. Then, click Invite. Third, students will need to enter the Mineola Workspace email addresses of any student or students they want to invite to their meeting. Next, the host student will click on Send to invite all the student invitees to their meeting. Now, as far as we know, at the time of recording this video, students cannot schedule a meeting in advance via the WebEx system calendar. They can initiate a meeting at the exact moment they wish to start it. As I mentioned earlier, you may figure out a way to do that. We advise students to arrange a convenient date and time with their meeting invitees. They would all be available to hold their meeting. Once the student invitees accept the invite, they will join a meeting already in progress. The meeting has technically begun when the student host clicks Start Meeting in Step 1. Step 6, recording the meeting. Some students were able to screen record their meetings on their iPads. We have yet to ascertain why all students could not record this way, but we need more time to troubleshoot the issue. Students that could not screen record just recorded on another mobile device. Step 7, getting the recording to you, the teacher. Depending on the length of the video, some students were able to just email it. Most video files were too large to email, so we advise those students to just share it with us via Google Drive. Here is an example of a student-led WebEx meeting. The unit of study in the 7th grade Social Studies curriculum at the time was the growth of the U.S. in the 1800s. We emphasized different perspectives on how America grew during this period. We utilized this feature as an alternative summative assessment. Students were required to hold a news panel discussion and portray contrasting characters with different viewpoints on how America grew in the 1800s. In this clip, students are discussing the economic and ethical impact of the construction of the Erie Canal.
Today, we have a very special guest. Hello, everyone. I'm Governor DeWitt Clinton.
And I'm Risto Lente, a worker that used to transport goods.
So, how has the Erie Canal affected the community?
It has made it easier for people to travel. What about you, Risto?
Unfortunately, after the Erie Canal was built, I was put out of business.
We are so sorry to hear that.
Well, how's the economy? I've been making good income since it's been so much easier to transport goods over the canal.
Since I don't have my business anymore, it's hard for me to make money and support my family.
So, what else has been passing through the canal?
Boats and water channels that help transport resources.
Now, let's take a look at the second WebEx feature to provide students with a more collaborative, interactive experience during distance learning, and that's WebEx training. The 7th grade Social Studies department utilizes practices like jigsaws and small group discussions, which I know are incredibly challenging during distance learning. WebEx training allows for these practices outside the classroom, even during distance learning, because it's capable of breaking students up into smaller groups called breakout sessions. Now, the breakout sessions are limited in the fact that they only offer audio and no video, but we do get closer to the collaborative, interactive classroom experience for students. What you have been looking at on screen is footage of one of my 7th grade social studies classes utilizing WebEx training to hold the Pear Deck followed by Bloom's discussion. Now, let's look at the necessary steps to scheduling a WebEx training meeting, very similar to the regular WebEx. WebEx training can be accessed on the bottom left of the WebEx meeting screen. Step 2, click on Schedule Training from the left menu. Step 3, fill out session and access information under Schedule Training Session. Your topic will be the name of your meeting. Then you can change the password if you want. Now scroll down and fill out the date, time, and duration. You also have the option to schedule recurring sessions depending on how often per week you want to meet, just like the regular WebEx meetings. Scroll down to registration. If you want to assign your breakout sessions in advance, you must select Require Attendee Registration. You may select Automatically Approve All Registration Requests, but if you want to assign breakout sessions in advance, you have to visit the registration page anyway, so it doesn't matter very much. Step 6, scroll down and click on the Invite Attendees button under the Attendees section. If you have a co-teacher, you can invite them as a presenter just below attendees. Step 7, enter each student's name and email address. Then, click on Add Attendee on the bottom right. The name of each student will appear on top of the screen under Attendees to Invite. Select them all and click Invite. If you schedule a recurrent meeting, you only have to enter your students once prior to the start. Once you click Invite, you will return to the Schedule Training Session screen. Scroll down to Breakout Session Assignment Settings. If you want to be able to assign breakout sessions in advance, you must select Enable Pre-Session Assignment. You have two choices. Select Manually Assign Registered Attendees to Breakout Sessions if you want to assign breakout sessions in advance. Otherwise, if you select Automatically Assign Attendees during the session, you have no control over placement of the students. They will be randomly assigned to a group. Step 9. Scroll down to Email Options on the screen to the left. Click on Edit Email Options, and that will lead you to the screen on the right. You can schedule up to 3 email reminders to be sent to your attendees prior to the start of your WebEx training at desired intervals. You can also schedule reminders for other presenters and you. When you're finished, click on Update on the bottom right of the screen, and that will take you back to the scheduled training session screen. Step 10, scroll down to the bottom. You can enter your agenda, description, course material, and tests if you wish. Click on Schedule on the bottom right to finalize. Your WebEx training meeting will show up on your standard WebEx upcoming meetings list. If you want to pre-assign breakout sessions, you will see this screen on the left after you schedule your WebEx training meeting. All your students will get an email to register, and you will have to register in order to assign them to a breakout session or just to attend the meeting. Click on Manage Registrations on the bottom of the middle of the screen. You will be taken to the Registered Attendee screen. Here you can monitor to ensure all your students register. You must approve each student after they register. When they register, click on Pending and then select their names and hit Accept. When all students have registered and have been accepted by you, click Pre-assign attendees to breakout sessions. If you schedule recurrent meetings, registration and approval only has to be done once prior to the first meeting. You will be taken to pre-assign attendees to breakout sessions. A list of your registered students will be on the left. Your breakout sessions will be on the right. Create the name of your breakout sessions on the right. Then highlight each student and move them into the desired breakout session with the arrow keys in the center. The students' names will appear in the assigned breakout session. The left arrow allows you to remove students from breakout sessions. Click OK on the bottom of the screen when finished. When you start your WebEx training meeting, the home screen will look like the screen on the left. When you are ready to reorganize into your breakout sessions, click the Start button on the bottom. Remember, the full meeting will have video, but the breakout sessions will only have audio. Students will be able to hear each other but not see each other in the breakout sessions. Once you begin your breakout sessions, the Join button next to each breakout session will allow you to jump between sessions to monitor. When you are finished with your breakout sessions, click End on the bottom to return back to the full meeting. If you want to assign breakout groups spontaneously during a WebEx training meeting, select Breakout from the menu at the top of the screen. Scroll down and select Breakout Session Assignment. Use the same procedure as pre-assigning breakout groups. Select the desired breakout session on the right, then highlight the student names on the left and use the arrows to transfer them over. When finished, click OK. Then use the same procedure, starting and ending breakout groups. Here are two examples of these WebEx training breakout sessions demonstrated by one of my 7th grade Social Studies classes. The discussion questions were displayed and voted upon in the breakout sessions by also using the Pear Deck app. The first discussion question reads, are all abolitionists heroes, both the violent and the nonviolent? Now, we haven't been able to figure out how to record the breakout sessions with the WebEx recording option, but I was able to record extrinsically with my iPad.
I said all abolitionists are heroes because all of them brought attention to the cause of slavery, and they all were a cause of change. Even if it was violent, non-violent, I'm sure either way caused everyone from the outside view to see what they were fighting for.
I agree that it did bring attention to it, but I didn't really agree that it was like a good fighting people was very noble.
I agree with Kira. I think all abolitionists are heroes. Even though they use violence, it's for what's right and to get a point across.
The second discussion question reads, do you see any connections between abolition and the George Floyd case?
I see a strong connection because during this time there are the two types of people that are just peaceful protesting, and then there are the violent protesters. But it really isn't really the same because back then both sides were changing stuff, but now it's really just be peaceful because with the violent protesters it's just causing more drama and more things are happening because of it.
I agree with Emma because the protesters now are both violent and peaceful. There are peaceful marches even around here. People just protesting in a peaceful manner. However, there are other violent protests which are coming to the attention on the news and people are all hearing about, I believe, are just sparking up more problems right now.
I sort of disagree Cause in the what's it called the lesson there was like something that said it was like it was a letter from a plantation owner, and she said, and it said, the rebellion made a great disturbance, and every man was scared with like a gun in his bed at night.
Thanks for watching. The irony of these distance learning WebEx measures is that the best case scenario is we don't have to use them at all because we'll be back in the classroom next fall. Until then, be healthy and safe.